Well, Neil Brown has West Virginia sitting at 4-1. A whole lot of people out there are surprised. Not all of us. But the media, who are picking West Virginia to finish somewhere between 12th and 14th in the Big 12, are trying to figure out what changed. And, of course, they're assuming something must have changed because, by golly, surely it couldn't just be that they were completely wrong in each and every one of their assumptions. And the truth is, nothing's changed. As far as the basic philosophy and approach, Neil Brown and his staff have been doing exactly what they said they were going to do and exactly what they have been doing since they got here. Best way I can describe it, if you want a metaphor, is the media's been out there on I-79 waiting for Brown to come up, and this whole time he's been coming up 119. And when you judge somebody by your expectations and what you think they're gonna do, instead of looking at what they are doing, well, by golly, you come up with some pretty wrong conclusions. And yes, there have been changes in part of the, application. They tackled more because they weren't good at tackling last year. They modified the defense to fit the players that they have. But all of that is built into the philosophy that Brown uses to coach. He's always analyzing and changing. That is part of his philosophy. But from where he started to where things are right now has just been making the trip. And making the trip essentially as it was planned. And I'm sorry about the dog backing in the background. That's the neighbor's dog. And the dog wants to be in the house, not outside. Meanwhile, Coach Brown took over a team. It had some roster issues, and we know about those. But that's not really why it has taken this amount of time. And that's really the only thing. It's taken a little longer than expected. You know how coming up the back roads you get distracted a bit sometimes. There are things to take care of along the way. Main thing really, I've said this in other videos, the psychology and philosophy that Holgorsen used and the one that Coach Brown uses are radically different, and they are really in direct opposition to one another. And there are players out there who fit each psychology. But by and large, they don't do that well switching from one to another. And Brown and Holgorsen are pretty extreme examples of their philosophies, their psychologies. Holgorsen creates schemes and plugs in players and just expects them to do what they're told. I don't know if he likes numbers so much, but he sure likes X's and O's. And he's not as good with people. Well, Brown, of course, yeah, he's an analytics guy, so he likes numbers. But he also understands people. He's a teacher coach. And he wants the players to think and understand. He wants them to grow as people. He, by golly, thinks football actually matters, that it helps you become a better person. I'm pretty sure Holgerson doesn't think that and doesn't care. And you can see that players are going to really have a serious split. And a lot of the guys just absolutely could not or would not buy in under Brown. This creates friction on the team, even if it's just at a subconscious level. Makes it harder for everybody to learn and perform. You get more glitches. You get things that are sucking your energy away into anger and frustration and confusion and doubt and all sorts of things. Now, by the end of last year, with the adjustments, you had a group of players who were bought in enough that Oklahoma State, they played like their hair was on fire and their butts were catching. And the cold, hard rain couldn't dampen the fire. Now, if the media people would get their noses out of the numbers and look at the people, if they would stop trying to look at just how many and look at why, well, you start coming up with different conclusions. Because when you come up 119 instead of 79, you get to understand more than just the number of the road you're on. Now, Brown's been coming up 119, and he's pretty much on the edge of Morgantown. Hadn't gotten there quite yet. So, I do not think we're going to be competing for the Big 12 championship this year. But he's going to keep heading right into campus. He's going to get that team where he has been taking the team all along. Now, what's going to change? Well, the number of wins and losses. What's not going to change is how dang hard this team plays in the sun, in the rain, and any place you want to name. You name the game, and they'll be there.